The Dwarven king, Durin, is shown wearing one of the 7 rings with blue sapphire gem. It is crafted specifically for the Dwarf Lords. These rings were part of the set of magical rings created by Celebrimbor, under the influence of Annatar, Sauron in disguise. The Dwarven rings were intended to grant the wearer immense power over wealth, mining, and control of the earth, amplifying their natural abilities to find riches and resources within the mountains. King Durin is able to find the hole that allows sunlight to enter the depths of the mountain due to his heightened connection to the earth, amplified by the influence of the ring of power he wears. This ring enhances his natural dwarven ability to perceive and manipulate the stone, enabling him to sense the shafts, veins of ore, and even sources of light deep within the mountain. The shaft he uncovers likely plays a symbolic role, representing a source of hope and opportunity to further explore and mine deeper into the earth. King Durin is depicted wearing a powerful ring with significant influence over his abilities as a ruler. The gemstone on the ring seems to possess magical properties, allowing him to hear the mountain and locate valuable shafts of mithril deep within the earth. This newfound power is not without its dangers, as Durin becomes increasingly obsessed with the ring's influence, to the point of ignoring warnings from others. In the Dwarf Kingdom, Princess Disa and Prince Durin venture into the mines of Khazad-dûm while purchasing a crystal for their daughter's birthday.
150?
She accidentally drops the crystal ball. It keeps rolling on the ground. The ball rolls into an empty, damp cave, which seems relatively unimportant at first. However, Disa uses her stone-singing abilities to locate the crystal. But not knowing she awakened the malevolent spirit, she senses something ominous, deep rumblings, groaning noises, and ripples in the water. The dwarves, by the order of King Durin, give a large stone as a gift to Celebrimbor as a gesture of goodwill and alliance between their two peoples. This stone is likely symbolic of their cooperation in the ongoing effort to forge the powerful rings, as well as a reflection of the dwarves' mastery over stone and minerals. Additionally, the gift could have practical significance. It might contain valuable resources like mithril, which the dwarves have been mining deep in the mountains. Mithril is highly prized by the elves, and its inclusion in the ring forging process is crucial to the creation of powerful magical objects. The dwarves' offering of this stone to Celebrimbor may represent their contribution to the crafting of the rings and the deepening ties between the Dwarven Kingdom and the elves of the region. After a short celebration, Celebrimbor might have confronted Annatar, upset about something. Despite Annatar's persuasion to create 9 rings for men, Celebrimbor stands firm in his belief that the 3 rings for the elves and 7 for the dwarves are sufficient. This dynamic sets up tension as Celebrimbor's trust in Annatar begins to show cracks. The insistence on 9 more rings for men could foreshadow future manipulation, with Annatar knowing that men's inherent weakness to power will serve his plans well. Meanwhile, they cast a new design for the ring, but Merdinia wore it for resizing. Unfortunately, she became invisible, just like she found herself in other dimension, and she was so terrified of the horror and vision she sees while wearing that new ring.
Look out!
Prince Durin IV visited that night to Origin and talked to Celebrimbor about the effect of the ring to his father king, Durin III. He becomes increasingly impatient and dismissive of warnings from those around him, including his son, Prince Durin, and even Princess Disa. His leadership takes on a more authoritarian tone, emphasizing the importance of expanding the kingdom's wealth through mining, a goal magnified by the ring's corruptive power. The ring amplifies not only King's ambitions, but also his emotional volatility, making him more prone to outbursts and irrational decisions driven by greed, which eventually lead to dangerous consequences for the kingdom. Eventually, Celebrimbor insists that there is nothing wrong with the rings because it is created with the same structures and components as the 3 rings worn by the elves. But Prince Durin III insists maybe the maker of the ring influenced something bad with it. Do you know very well about the background of Anathar? Prince Durin said, "This is the explanation why Celebrimbor ordered to create 9 rings for men. First is guilt over the 7 dwarven rings. Celebrimbor may feel a sense of guilt or responsibility for the creation of the 7 dwarven rings. In Tolkien's lore, these rings were originally forged by Celebrimbor and the other elven smiths, but they were later corrupted by Sauron when he deceived the elves as Anatar, the Lord of Gifts. The 7 rings had unintended consequences as they fueled greed and ambition in the dwarven leaders, leading to strife. Celebrimbor may view the creation of the 7 rings as a mistake that contributed to chaos rather than stability. Second is redemption through the 9 rings for men. By proposing the creation of the 9 rings for men, Celebrimbor may see an opportunity for redemption or a way to atone for the perceived failure of the 7 rings. He might believe that crafting new rings, this time for men, could be a chance to set things right or make amends for the damage caused by the dwarven rings. The rings for men could represent a hope to establish order, control, or even peace among the mortal races through Sauron's manipulation. However, it's important to remember that Sauron, disguised as Anatar, was heavily involved in the forging of all these rings, and his ultimate goal was to control them through the one ring. The 9 rings for men are particularly dangerous because Sauron intended to use them to corrupt and dominate men, turning the bearers of the 9 into the Nazgul, his most fearsome servants. Celebrimbor, unaware of Sauron's full plan, might be manipulated into thinking that these rings could serve a noble purpose, when in reality, they are part of Sauron's greater scheme for domination. Thematic exploration of power. Celebrimbor's proposal also reflects a recurring theme in Tolkien's world, the corrupting nature of power. The desire to create more rings as a form of atonement shows how even well-meaning intentions can lead to dangerous outcomes when power is involved. The 9 rings for men were created with the hope of benefiting humanity, but they ultimately lead to enslavement and corruption, showing how power can twist noble goals. The new ruler of Numenor is Ar-Pharazôn. He has taken control following the downfall of Queen Miriel and has ambitious goals, particularly concerning the Undying Lands. The appearance of the eagle before Ar-Pharazôn is likely a symbolic moment. In Tolkien's lore, eagles often represent divine intervention or the will of the Vala, the godlike beings of Middle-earth. Their appearance signals moments of great importance, typically as warnings or omens. The eagle's appearance was likely twisted into a symbol of divine displeasure with Miriel, while Ar-Pharazôn took advantage of the chaos to bolster his claims to power. The captain who remains loyal to Queen Miriel faces significant challenges due to the political upheaval in Numenor. Queen Miriel's leadership is threatened, and some of her loyalists, including the captain, suffer under the new ruler Ar-Pharazôn's influence. Ar-Pharazôn strips royal ranks from those still loyal to Miriel, creating tension between factions.
This shrine is condemned by order of the king. Return to your homes.
My son, this is the...
Numenor dedicated to honoring the fallen. Present at the shrine were Elendil and Valinor, paying tribute to those lost in the Battle of the Southlands. During that night, Keeman causing trouble by shutting down the shrine during ceremony and dishonoring their god by breaking the statue. They were fighting, but Keeman is almost defeated that time, but only when Valinor surrendered and tension died down again did Keeman stab him in the back. Keeman, the son of Pharazôn, proved to be a detestable figure in this episode, committing to his father's new rule by shutting down a shrine in, as part of a larger power play to solidify his own standing amidst the turmoil. This event further complicates the loyalty dynamics in Numenor. When Elrond arrived at Lindon, he rushed to the High King Gil-galad and told him that Adar's army are approaching to a region and that he should send an army to protect them. But the king replied,
"Our armies cannot defeat both Adar and Sauron. Not alone."
Galadriel is now a captive of Adar. What do you think why Galadriel let herself be caught to Adar? It could be 1. Gaining information? By surrendering herself, Galadriel aims to gather crucial intelligence about Adar's plans and his forces. 2. Negotiation and diplomacy? Her surrender might be a strategic move to open a channel of communication or negotiate with Adar. It could be an attempt to find a way to mitigate the conflict or reach some form of understanding or compromise. 3. Or by making an alliance with Adar temporarily, since they are aiming with the same goal to defeat Sauron. What do you think? Please leave the comment below, and don't forget to like and subscribe and support my channel. Watch my next recap on Episode 6. Thank you.